Hello, hello, my lovely Scorpios. Welcome back to the channel. We are going to be doing your weekly readings for April 8th through the 21st. Now, all right, starting off on April 8th, right, we have a solar eclipse happening in the sign of Aries. So, with the solar eclipse, what happens is that we are setting intentions for, if you're familiar with moon energy, working with the moon, and setting intentions, the new moon is the time for setting intentions. But with this being a solar eclipse, it means that the intentions that we set on this new moon on the 8th is going to be something that we see expressed over a 6-month time period, because eclipses happen on the how do I explain this? It's going to be on the Aries Libra axis. So it's happening in the sign of Aries right now. And about 6 months from now, we're going to see an eclipse happening in the sign of Libra. I don't think it's going to be a solar eclipse in Libra. I think it's just a lunar eclipse happening. However, it happens on this 6-month cycle. So any intentions, anything that we are setting on this April 8th is going to be an intention that comes to fruition over the course of 6 months. This is a period of transformation. This is a lot of things being brought to light for ourselves. So moving into new ways of doing things, shifting our self-talk or the way that we are expressing ourselves, or even bigger shifts within our life, such as, getting a new house or a new job, things like that. What we set the intention for on the 8th is going to be expressed and built over this time. It's going to be a bit more of a journey than our regular 2 to 4 week expression that we see working with regular moon energy, right? Because it's about 2 weeks from the new moon to the full moon. This expression happens, normally on a much smaller scale. And because of this solar eclipse, it's going to be expressed on a much larger scale. There's going to be bigger transformations. So really, this reading that we're doing for these 2 weeks is starting off with the April 8th eclipse. This is a lot about this upcoming 6-month transformation happening for you. Wow. Scorpio, your cards, even just seeing them right now, accompanied with what is right over here, there is some big stuff happening for you. Your first oracle card that came out is the Lizard Spirit, which says, dream the world into being. Dream the world into being. And literally your first card on April 8th for that eclipse is the World card in reverse. So, excuse me. Dream the world into being. There is this idea in your mind about the world that you want to live in, the world that you see for yourself. Things are changing, and you are going to be the one who is able to dream it into being. It speaks of endless possibility, right? Anything within your mind being birthed into reality. Endless possibility. Dream the world into being, the world that you want to see for yourself. The next card here is the Parrot Spirit, which says, watch your words. Be very careful about the words that you're saying at this time. Not only are we in the midst of Mercury retrograde, which started on April 1st, so obviously there's going to be themes of miscommunication, things like that. It's going to be more difficult because Mercury is the planet that rules communication and transportation, and among other things. However, watch your words, especially if you are manifesting. If you are dreaming a new world into being, watch your words, because your words hold power. Your words are able to help you manifest. And so if you're speaking words to yourself of negativity, if you're speaking words to yourself about not being able to do this, of doubt and things like that, you're going to affirm those words for yourself. You're going to move with the expectation that you can't do something, or that, this thing is impossible. So watch your words. Be very careful about the words that you are using at this time, especially since you are manifesting such a big change for your world here. And your last card here, Scorpio, says Butterfly Spirit, which says transformation is beautiful. So the Butterfly Spirit, transformation is beautiful. Transformation is, that's literally what the butterfly is associated with. It starts off as a caterpillar, which looks like a completely different being, a completely different bug if you didn't know any better. You know, if you saw a caterpillar next to a butterfly, you would never think that they were the same species, right? But they are. And there's this period of isolation, of growth that happens where the butterfly, you know, or the caterpillar puts itself into this cocoon, this safe space where it transforms completely. And then it's able to emerge as this beautiful butterfly that we associate it with. It transforms into this beautiful being. And you see this butterfly, I mean, there's literally a crown right above the butterfly. There's literally a crown here. And it just confirms the royalty, the things that happen. So there is a big transformation that is happening here for you, Scorpio. And I mean, yeah, when we're building a new world for ourselves, it means that we too have to change. Not only are we changing the world around us, but we change ourselves when this happens. You know, you can't move into a new world with the old ideas. You can't move into a new life for yourself with old expectations. Now let's go ahead and start off your reading here with your tarot here. As we said on April 8th, your very first card, we have the World card in reverse, which does speak about this world and transformation that we want, right? The World card is the last card in the major arcana. It signals the end of a cycle. This cycle of, it's a cycle of mastery. It's also a cycle of, with the World card showing up in the reverse, it does say that you haven't quite stepped into this new reality for yourself. As we said, the World card is the last card of the major arcana. It signals a completion of a sort. It signals like the fullest expression of reintegration with source. There's this whole journey of life, death, and rebirth that happens. And the World card is the moment when our spirit returns back to the ether, basically, to start the cycle again, to be reborn in some way. And this is reintegration with universal consciousness, oneness with the universe, almost like a sense of nirvana, samadhi, things like that. The World card showing up in the reverse, it tells me that, you know, this portal of moving into a new life, this portal or this new world that you want for yourself is not quite here. Or it's not quite ready for you yet. I mean, you had dreamed the world into being, so obviously you are, you know, dreaming about what you want this world to look like. You're dreaming about being able to get to this point for yourself, but it's still in the reverse. It's not in the upright yet, so you haven't quite moved into this full integration at this point. Your next card here, Scorpio, is the Devil. And this kind of goes along with that watch your words card with that parrot spirit. You see, the Devil is, it's associated with like the things that bind us, right? The things that keep us chained down, the limits that we have. And the Devil card has, when you look at this card, you see that there's like this step, this doorway that happens into the mind, and specifically like the hindbrain, the lower brain there at the very bottom of the skull, at the base of the skull where it meets the neck down here. It's where your hindbrain is, your animalistic instincts, but also where your subconscious mind rests, right? These subliminal messages within our mind. So watch your words. The things that we believe about ourselves, the things that we have in the subconscious, live within this space. And if you are telling yourself that you don't matter, if you are telling yourself that you cannot achieve this, if you are telling yourself these negative things, then that is what's going to happen. If you tell yourself you can't do it, you're not going to do it, because it's like a confirmation of the words that we tell ourselves. And the Devil card is what binds us. So what is binding you at this time, Scorpio, is these self-limiting beliefs. Yes, it can also speak to other sorts of bindings. So as we said, you know, not just the words and the beliefs, but like the expectations that we have about how things should work or how things should go. Or even, since this is about the hindbrain, the animalistic brain, this can even be about things that are addictive. So things like drugs, sex, alcohol, things like that, that appeal to our hindbrain, appeal to this brain that doesn't necessarily have the forward thinking of the, I can't remember, I mean, specifically you have your third eye in the center. But this forward part of your brain where critical thinking happens is one of the last parts of your brain to fully develop. So this is, that hindbrain. So be careful about the things that you are saying to yourself. And it really signals an awareness, actually, of the things that are binding you at this time, Scorpio. Following the Devil card, you have the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles represents the things that we base our life upon. It's our foundations, the four corners of our world and our reality that we believe. The four tenets, the four pieces that we think, that we believe, that we base our life upon. Literally our foundations. So the Four of Pentacles represents these four different aspects of the self, right? It represents your actual self. It represents your family, work, and your spiritual self, right? Now, ideally, we want these things to be in alignment. We want to be showing up as the fullest representation of ourselves at all times, right? So when one of these pentacles, when one of these pieces of this foundation is off, it throws the whole thing off. It's about being in alignment. And so, Scorpio, calling to your attention where your alignment is currently, whether or not you are currently aligned with your goal or the world that you want to move yourself into. You have to address, whether or not you are in alignment with where you want to go. If you're dreaming about this new world for yourself where you are able to do fitness stuff, are you in alignment currently with fitness? Are you in alignment currently with, being a spiritual teacher or leader of some sort? Are you in alignment with these things, not just in this one aspect, but within all aspects of your life, within all aspects of the self? Following the Four of Pentacles, you have the Hanged Woman in reverse. And this card always kind of cracks me up a little bit because in the reverse, this person looks like they're in the upright. And in the upright, this person is, upside down in the reverse. So whenever I see this card in the reverse, it kind of always tickles me a little bit. It's kind of funny. This card is the Hanged Woman. Actually, it's funny, on the same day here, you have the Hanged Woman, and then in the following week, you have the Death card. The Hanged Woman is actually, in the major arcana, it's the card that precedes the Death card. So we have the Hanged Woman and then Death. And this represents that bit of space where you straddle these two realities, the reality between life and death. It's literally that last breath before you die, before you move into death. So this card kind of has this piece of looking back and thinking about where you have been before you step into this new life, which is death, before you step into this new world. It's literally straddling the realm between two different places, life and death. And, you find yourself in this in-between space, ready to leap from, you see this person's kind of like a trapeze artist here. They're hanging between one rope to move on to the next. They need to let go of where they currently are so that they can move into this new space. So that they can move from one rope to the other. They have to make that leap. And they find themselves, stuck between these 2 points. With this card being in the reverse, Scorpio, it can mean that you are resisting this movement into this new life. Or that you are, I almost feel like you have a little bit of confusion. Or not even just confusion, but a loss of direction. Almost as if you're not quite sure how to let go. You're not quite sure how to let go and embrace this new life. You have a vision for the world that you want to be living. You have a vision for this new future for yourself, but it's almost as if you don't quite know or understand fully how to shift yourself into this new life or this new perspective. Following the Hanged Woman in reverse, you have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. The Seven of Pentacles is about what we give our energy to. It's about the ways that we nurture this growth so that we can have this harvest from this tree here. This person in this card, I'm going to shift it upright just so you can see it better. But this person in this card is someone who is watering this tree so that they can get some sort of fruit, some sort of harvest or return from it. And so it talks about the ways that we invest our energy, our time, and our resources into the things that we want. So with this card being in the reverse, Scorpio, it can mean that you are needing to adjust where you are putting your current energies. It can also mean that you are needing to put more effort into something and some reason you are resisting it. I'm not quite sure. I don't feel so much as though you are resisting it, but I feel as though it's more about needing to put more work and more effort in. I almost feel like maybe you expected this shift to be a little bit easier and you're finding out it's a lot harder than what you thought it would be. Moving into this new life for yourself, if you were, trying to get a new job, it's almost like finding out that there's a lot more responsibilities to it than what you originally were aware of. Starting a schooling program and realizing that there's a lot more classes and coursework than what you thought. Things like that. So there's a lot more work that needs to go into it. There's a lot more that needs to be done. And you're being asked to invest a lot more than what you originally planned. Following the Seven of Pentacles in reverse, you have the Ace of Swords in reverse. Now the sword. The sword it represents our thoughts. It also represents like air energy, right? But more than just our thoughts, this is actually the tool of our will, right? This is representing of action. So when you have the Ace of Swords show up, it's like a renewing of your will, a renewing of your idea of what this action should be. The sword is the tool that cuts down. And so it's the action, right? It's the thing that is used to get the result that you want. And when the Ace of Swords shows up, it's like a new idea, a new piece that allows you to work this thing that you're doing. Now with this in the reverse, it can mean that you're feeling very confused. I mean, we just did start Mercury retrograde on April 1st, so there can be this sense of confusion within the mind for you right now, Scorpio. I feel as though more it's about this path forward. It feels like maybe you believe that you are missing something. I almost think that it's like you're being expected to put more effort in, and the Ace of Swords is like waiting for the right tool or the right thing to be able to do this. And you also had the Hanged Woman in reverse. I feel like this is procrastination in a way. So Scorpio, you may be procrastinating. Naughty Scorpio. But I just feel like there's, this idea of like, I can't start until I have the right tool. I can't begin because I'm missing something. And I feel like this is more about a perception within your mind. I don't feel like you're actually missing something, Scorpio. You actually need to be more creative at this time and work with the things that you have. And, you can't always sit around and wait for the right moment or the right tool to start. Sometimes you just have to start and work with what you got, even if it is less than ideal. It reminds me of like content creators, someone saying that they're going to start a YouTube channel and then waiting until they have the proper equipment. You can start at any point. Most people start with their phone. I'm literally filming with my cell phone right here. I do have like a computer. I'm using a nice mic, but it's because my husband is a gamer. So like I have access to these sort of things. But when I first started, literally my very first videos were only with my phone. There was no mic involved, and I just used what was on my phone to edit and upload directly like that. So it's like, you can't wait until you have the fancy expensive equipment. Sometimes you have to work with what you already have, and waiting around to start until you get this piece, it's just going to take a lot longer for you to actually move into this new world that you want. Your last card for week 1 here is the Empress in reverse. The Empress is someone who's able to grow. They have this fertility about them. And I don't mean, this card, I'm not talking about like your physical fertility, Scorpio. I'm talking about your emotional fertility, your ability to take something and to grow it, right? So with the example of like starting YouTube with what you have, the Empress works with what they already have and they're able to grow it into something way better. So it's taking that starting point of working with just your phone and being able to grow it and expand it to a point where maybe someday you can buy the expensive equipment that you really want and being able to, have a big production for yourself. Now, obviously, that's a very limited example. There's probably not going to be a ton of you who actually think that. There's probably not going to be a ton of you who, are trying to start YouTube channels, but that's just the example that I had, right? Starting this world, moving into this world for yourself, the Empress is the person who takes their idea, and they're able to start with what they have, even if it's very limited, and grow it. You know, they have that sense of fertility about them, and fertility is more about your conditions, the optimal growing conditions to grow what it is that you need. Dreaming the world into being, you know, the Empress is a dreamer. They are able to grow and take what they have and turn it into something magical and more than what it was when it started. Now let's move on to your next week here in your cards. We start off with the 8 of Cups. The 8 of Cups signals a period of contemplation. It also, in the traditional Rider-Waite, this is also about leaving behind things that no longer serve us. Leaving behind things that have hurt us in the past in order to be able to move on and accept the fertility of new life, the fertility of new thoughts and ideas, and greater wealth of opportunity for ourselves to revel in our own happiness because we've let go the things that have hurt us in the past. Now, this is deep contemplation. I mean, this person looks like they're sitting on the edge of a pool, almost like they're on the deep end, swimming outward towards like this sun here with their cards. Whether it's a setting sun or a rising sun, I'm not sure. And so, you know, this person is in a period of contemplation. They're looking at these cards, not the cards, they're looking at these cups in the depth of their water, in the depth of their emotions, because cups are about the emotions. They're within the depths of things, and they're contemplating, you know, why do I have these cups? Why am I holding on to this? Why am I caring about these things? Why do I continue to carry them with me along this journey? And so, you know, Scorpio, there is this idea of deep contemplation. It feels as though you're thinking about the why, thinking about why you want this new world or reality for yourself. Evaluating the things that you are bringing with you along this path. Following the 8 of Cups, you have the 6 of Pentacles in reverse. Now, this kind of goes along with the beginning portion of this, or I should say the end of week 1 here, about waiting for the right moment or waiting for the right tool to be available to you. The 6 of Pentacles is, it's like the person who gives you that missing piece or gives you that leg up. But I feel like, Scorpio, you're waiting for something that's not going to happen, right? Because this is in the reverse. In the upright, this is about someone coming in with the right piece, the missing piece that takes you from the poverty of the 5 of Pentacles, the previous card, moves you into this place of abundance and alignment that give you the missing piece that rebalances your energy to bring you to happiness. And with this card showing up in the reverse, it's saying that, you know, you're waiting for this missing piece, but really, like, you just got to start with what you have. You feel as though you're missing something, but you're really not. In fact, you know, you're going to have better outcome if you work with what you have and just get started. If you keep waiting and waiting and waiting for the right moment or the right opportunity or, you know, the right person to come in and save you and give you what you need, it's not always going to happen like that, Scorpio. And you need to just get started with what you have and stop waiting around for someone else to come in and help you, give you that little piece that you're missing. Moving on from the 6 of Pentacles in reverse, you move on to the 4 of Wands in reverse. Now, this is very similar to that 4 of Pentacles. 4 of Pentacles is our foundations of, you know, these physical things within our life. And the 4 of Wands is, it's kind of similar to a portal card because we move from one reality into another. This card signifies marriage a lot of times. And it's actually like crossing the threshold of marriage. And that's where I mean that it's like a portal, right? Crossing the threshold, moving from one piece, your old life of being separate, and when you move into marriage, you know, the two become one. So it's this transformative piece where you move across the threshold from being single to being married, right? You cross that threshold. So there is some sort of threshold crossing, some sort of portal moment in a way that you have to cross through where things shift, things change. And with this being in the reverse, you know, It does also talk about like home and foundations, kind of similar to that Four of Pentacles, like we said. You know, they're both fours. They're somewhat related to each other. They just are expressed in slightly different ways. And the Four of Wands is, you know, it's things shifting around in the home, and it may not necessarily feel like, in the moment, it may not necessarily feel like a positive thing. It may actually feel very chaotic and almost distressing at first when it first happens, but it's a necessary change that has to happen. You know, as we said, when you're moving into a new world, you can't bring old stuff with you. You have to be able to leave something behind. You have to leave some stuff behind so that you can move into a new world and a new reality for yourself. And so the Four of Wands, it feels like there's going to be a shift in, could actually be a physical shift in your home. I mean, if you're thinking about moving, obviously this is a shift in where you are currently living, where you are currently, you know, making your life. And for some of you, yes, it may even signal a change in your relationship or your marriage, you know. I feel like for most of you, though, it's a change in what you define as your home. Is your home defined as like a place? Maybe your home at this time doesn't feel very welcoming, and so you're wanting to move from where you're currently at so that you can live in a more welcoming environment. Whatever the case may be, there is a change there. Following the Four of Wands in reverse, you have the Death card in reverse. You have a lot of reversals for this this period right here. You actually have one more following this one. You had 4 reversals in a row for week 1, and you also have 4 reversals in a row for your week 2. So I think it's kind of cool how that happens sometimes. Just a little side note. But the Death card in reverse. The Death card signals an ending. Remember we talked about the Hanged Woman in reverse, how there's this peace between life and death. Well, death happens and you cannot go back, right? You cannot go back to the life before. Once you are dead and there's no coming back. Or truly dead, I should say. Because, like, we can argue about, you know, resurrection and things like that. I'm not going to argue. I'm just saying that, like, you know, typically when you cross the veil into death, you cannot come back. You cannot defy death. But really what feels like death, what feels like an ending, is an opportunity for a new beginning. An opportunity of living your life within a new realm. The realm of the dead. So in the moment, with this card in the reverse, it can feel like we want to go back to our old life, and we can be resisting this change or this ending. But Scorpio, you know, you want to move into this new world for yourself. And as we said, there's endings that have to happen. We can't take everything with us, and some things do have to end. So with that Death card in the reverse, you know, there is ending. There is things that need to be left behind, and it can be something that we're resisting. You know, if we like the place that we're currently living, but we want to move somewhere else, it can be distressing to leave behind somewhere that we've called home for a while. But it's part of the necessary changes that need to happen so that we can move into this new reality for ourselves. Moving on from the Death card in reverse, you have the Three of Cups in reverse. One of the things that may be ending for you, other than your home, is you could actually be shifting friendships and relationships at this point. The Three of Cups is about community, friendship, camaraderie. It's about the people that, you know, we love, our community. And with this card being in the reverse, you know, the death that could be happening is the death of some friendships. When we have a vision, when we move into a new life for ourselves, not everybody is going to see our vision. Sometimes we have to leave old friendships behind because they are keeping us held back. Sometimes our friends don't always understand the places that we want to move into, the places that we want to be. And so their vision of what their life, or even their vision and opinion of what your life should look like, Scorpio, can be very different from what you want from yourself. And when that happens, you have to leave them behind. So unfortunately, Scorpio, there is the possibility of losing some friends or some personal relationships about this. It's not even just friends. Like the Three of Cups could even be like family members, or yes, even relationships that need to be left behind, because this new world that you want for yourself is much bigger, much more important for you than where you currently are. But it's not all bad, right, Scorpio? Because you're following the Three of Cups in reverse, you have the Nine of Pentacles. And the Nine of Pentacles talks about independence. So This change is going to, yes, foster independence, because of course you're not going to have the same people to rely upon. You are going to have to be more independent, but it's not always a bad thing in being independent, right? This also signals like financial independence. So yes, while you may be on your own with this Scorpio, you are in a place of like good financial security for this. And just like, look at this, it's a peacock. You know, this is about being able to shine your light. This is about being able to recognize the power in what you bring to the table. It's about recognizing yourself for how magical you are, and, you know, understanding how important you are, understanding your importance, understanding the ways that, you know, you shift things for yourself, that you have the ability and the willpower to, you know, build this new life for yourself. And yes, it can be isolating. As we said, you know, independence and moving away from friendships, it can be kind of lonely, but all in all, it feels like it's for the better for you, moving into a better place of independence. And then your final card to finish out this tarot here is the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups is all about perspective. When you flip the card this way, you have only 2 cups in the upright position, and you have 3 cups pouring out, which is saying that you have the idea of less. You have this idea of darkness, of not having, almost like a cup half empty mentality. Whereas when you flip the card this direction, we have this sort of sunrise, and you have 3 cups in the upright and 2 cups pouring out, saying that you're looking on the bright side of something. So this calls into the idea of what is your perspective, right? If you are looking at this loss of home, this ending, this loss of friendship, if you are looking at it on the pessimistic side, you know, as we said, watch your words with that parrot spirit, watch your words. If you are looking on the negative, you will receive negative, Scorpio. If you are looking on the positive, if you are using positive words, you will receive positive. So make sure that your perspective is aligned. Make sure that, you know, even though there is kind of this uncomfortable feeling about an ending, right? Especially like, it's never fun to lose friendships. It's never fun, but understanding that, you know, it's like you have that choice between being sad about it and being depressed and like just only thinking about the things that you've lost out on from losing this friendship, or you have the choice to think positively, understand that, you know, this friendship wasn't going to bring me to this goal that I want. This friendship wasn't working in my best interest, and so even though it hurts, I'm better off without this. I'm better off overall. So Scorpio, we're going to pull one more card here from The Universe Has Your Back. I'm pulling this with the intention of leaving you with a positive message from the universe to take with you on this journey for these next 2 weeks. You know, it's positive change, positive transformation. Transformation is beautiful. Birth is beautiful, but it's also messy. Transformation is messy, right? Those butterflies turn into goo in those cocoons so that they can be a butterfly, right? When they come out of the cocoon or the chrysalis, they have to fight really, really hard. It's not always beautiful in the moment, but the end result of this transformation is very beautiful. All right, Scorpio, let's take a look. Your first card that came out here says, there is a stream of love supporting my dreams. So yeah, even though you may be losing out on a friendship, or you may be shifting things within your home life right now at this time, Scorpio, there is a stream of love supporting you. So never forget that you are supported. Things are, even in the moment, it can feel punishing, but the universe is not here to punish you. And that, you know, your dreams are supported. It's supported by you, your love for yourself, as well as the love that the universe holds for you. And then your other card here, Scorpio, says, oneness is my true nature. So yeah, oneness with the world. The world is literally like this card of integration with universal consciousness. As we said, it's, you know, getting rid of this separation of self from the divine. Understanding that oneness, you are one with the universe. You are one with consciousness and light and love and divinity. This idea or this illusion of separation is untrue, and your true nature is oneness and connection with divinity. So anyway, Scorpio, that is where I am going to leave your reading for this week. Thank you so much for being here today. I really hope that this reading was able to help guide you and provide you some sort of value and guidance along your journey here. Good luck on these next 6 months moving forward. You have some big changes coming ahead for you, but I feel like overall, you are doing some big things here, Scorpio. So thank you for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week.